From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buk and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by fans, where we don't try to pretend like we're know-it-alls and know everything. We're just two friends that love the Chiefs and love to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm Buck. I'm your passionate co-host, and I love to play devil's advocate to Bob's bad takes.
Yep, and just like Buck said, I'm the guy with the bad takes. But together we are Buk and Bob, and yeah, let's get into the show. We're gonna talk a little bit about the sad loss last week, maybe a little remembrance. Pour out a little bit of our beer,
Sip for me, a sip for my homie.
Yeah, have a
loss
moment for moment of silence. No, I'm kidding. But then we're going to talk about what's coming in the future and what matters. We're going to talk about next week's game against the Panthers, and that's going to be the show. We're going to jump right in. What's still sitting in your mind about this loss against the Bills?
Nothing. Honestly, the Bills played a hell of a game. The Chiefs were outplayed. There wasn't something that happened that I was like, oh, man, the Chiefs just, if this one thing didn't happen, then the Chiefs win that game. And, I think that this is going to stick in the Chiefs' minds, in the players and the coaches and ownership. And it's just fuel for the fire when the playoffs come, honestly. So I'm in pretty good spirits about the loss. I hate to see the Chiefs lose. But if there was a game that was really going to motivate them that was a loss, that was the one. So I'm good with it.
I'm the same way. It's one thing to lose to the Bills. What I hate is when we lose to teams we shouldn't lose to, like we've done many years in the past over the last few years. And I just remember being like, are you kidding me? Like, how did the Colts beat us two years ago in like the season opener or whatever? Like, those are the ones that really upset me, Or if the Raiders beat us and they take a victory lap around Arrowhead Stadium, that kind of thing, gets my gears. But we lost to a very respectable, good team, and we just didn't make the plays at the end. And I think that the Chiefs had the mentality that we're somehow going to win, regardless. And I think that that's going to get out of their minds now, which I think is a good thing. I'm a little annoyed with some of the Bills fans that are, I saw this one tweet where the guy was like talking about all the good points of the game. He was like, just a great game all around. It was like good play, blah, 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 blah. Said fair officiating. And I was like sitting there going, dude, if that pick play had been against the Bills, we would still be hearing about it 2 weeks from now. Are you kidding me right now? At least, call it how it is. There were big mistakes made in officiating. But like I said before, I'm not one of those guys that blames, penalties on losing the game. We had plenty of opportunities to win that game. We stopped running. We didn't run hardly at all. I don't get it. This was the team we definitely needed to run on, and we just kind of gave up on it. We didn't target Worthy once after that one miss on the sideline after he'd been pretty much electric to start the game out. There's some weird, bizarre things, and I don't know. I hope Nagy can learn from these things, because I really have started to believe that a lot of these offensive woes are kind of falling on his shoulders. And maybe that's not because, maybe it's because, I don't know. It is the tackles. We do have a problem there, but I think Nagy needs to try and utilize plays that don't put so much pressure on the tackles.
Yeah, absolutely. But I know you say that it's hard to argue against you on this Nagy point. It really is, just because, we were so successful under Bieniemy, and that's the one big change.
And with less of a good team. Tyreek Hill left, we thought we were going to have worse offense, and we had a better offense. We actually had a statistically better offense. And then Bieniemy leaves, and I didn't even like Bieniemy. He always seemed like a jerk. And I always thought he was the problem because you'd see him get into it with Patrick Mahomes and all this stuff. But maybe it was good having a guy that could tell Patrick to shut up. I mean,
yeah, that was the fuel that would get him going. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. I still have faith, but I really need to see him changing up the offense to help. We can't have plays that need a ton of time to develop. And I think Andy Reid did come out in the presser and he was talking, and I was kind of reading between the lines, and he was talking about, hey, instead of me and, Nagy, changing the plays up a ton before, when we get to the line of scrimmage, I think we're just going to get back to basics, let the guys think less and play more, and just try to play faster football. And that might help, especially with new faces in the locker room.
Maybe, but I kind of take pride in the way that this team thinks, their football knowledge. And so when you're saying taking away that aspect of it, I don't know that that's the key. I don't know that it's not the key. I mean, I guess it's worth a try to see if something kind of lights a fire, but...
Well, let me put it like this. This might be a horrible analogy, but this is how I kind of think about it. So I play a bunch of golf, right? And some days, all of a sudden, I'll come out on the golf course, and all of a sudden, I am not hitting it. And I don't know what the heck just happened. What just went wrong? Why was I hitting fine just a second ago, and now I'm not? So what I do in those instances is I start taking half swings. I just take a half a swing rather than a full swing and see if the ball is getting struck right and going straight. And then I'm like, okay. Then I move back to full swing after I get the quirk worked out. So maybe that's what he wants to do. He wants to kind of get people back, playing and not thinking as much, and then work back into, making all of the changes pre-snap and stuff. That's my guess.
Maybe less gadget plays that requires so much choreography and, maybe. But that's the fun part of watching this team, so... I don't know. Yeah, the first play of that last game, that was I wrote it down in my notes. We just never talked about it, but it was like the triple, like Mahomes faked the handoff to one guy, then he faked it to the next guy, and then he gave it to the third. I think Hunt was the third guy.
Worthy.
But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Worthy. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, whoever.
Around.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of stuff, I think we'll probably see less of that if that's their approach. But
I believe that play popped up in a college game, and Andy grabbed it. He's
been known to do that,
but
he's been known to do plays from like the 30s and 40s. So Andy Reid is he's just on another level.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I'm really at. I am, playoffs. We went from having a 91% chance to be the number one seed, and then with that loss if we would have won, we would have had a 91% chance, and then with that loss, we went to a 54% chance to get the number one seed. So
what a huge swing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about Chiefs here. Should we start with what? Do you want to start with injuries or?
Well, yeah, as much as we can. I mean, injuries are usually called later in the week, but I did find a better source for injury lists that kind of keeps everything updated a little bit better. Uh-huh. So going forward, we can kind of just update this right before the show. But yeah, so Harrison Butker, he's on the IR. He's expected to return week 15. So that's only a few short weeks. Our backup kicker did well. He didn't miss anything.
He did fine. Yeah. Seemed to do fine.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So knock on wood there. BJ Thompson is, oh no, it just says he's out for week 12. He's been out pretty much the whole season. So, Amenahue, he's on the PUP list still, but he is expected to return week 12. It doesn't say return to live action. It just says return week 12. So I assume we'll probably have at least a week or two of practice before he sees the field. Pacheco, that's the big one. He is expected to play at this point on Sunday.
He is.
Yeah.
Why does it say expected to return week 12? Oh, this is week 12.
Yeah, this is week 12. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, the early bye week has me all messed up. Like I always I always think of what week it is in the NFL by looking at the Chiefs' record and just adding them together. And so it just doesn't add up.
Yeah. So did you look a little bit further down the injury list by chance? We have somebody else expected to return week 12.
Oh, God.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
we might
God.
see. And again, that's one of those. I don't know
Sky Moore.
if it's on the field or if it's just for practice. I don't think he's got any catches this year. I was kind of like
he has no
surveying over.
We have an offensive lineman with more catches on the year than
our
Sky
wide
Moore.
receiver.
He has none. Our offensive lineman that got the catch last week has more catches than him. And
but the other big name is.
Oh,
I was just going to say the other big name is Marquise Brown. It shows that he's expected to return week 18. So,
and he's been tweeting out some tweets. I think he might even be back earlier than that. He's been tweeting out like a clock emoji, and I think he's itching to get back. And the best thing about it, this is our, number one wide receiver. Whoa, excuse me, it was our number one wide receiver.
Yeah,
but now he's coming back. I mean, that's a huge boost. And he was going off in training camp and everything. Him and Patrick had gotten they'd been working together in the off season. Excited for this. He was there at all the non-mandatory practices. I mean, I think he's excited, and I'm excited to see him come back. And I want him to come back before just playoffs, though, man. I want him to have a little bit of game time in there.
Well, we'll see how effective he is with Mahomes and this minimized pocket protection time. He's going to have to get open quick, or him being back will be fairly ineffective if we can't get that figured out.
Yeah, looking at the other injuries. Just a reminder about Jody Fortson. Man, Jody Fortson's a sad case. He's on injured reserve. He's not coming back this season. He tore his ACL, but it's just he looked to be. I mean, he was a monster. He could have been the next. Who do you remind me of? The next Antonio Gates. I mean, he was looking so good every time he's been able to play, and he's just been riddled with injury after injury, and it's just so sad to see what could have been a great career, knocked short because of injuries, and I just don't think he's ever going to pan out, and it's sad. And then on the other side, Jalen Watson, I've heard even more, there was thoughts that he could maybe return later, but he's out for this season. There's no possible chance of him coming back. He was tweeting out, "Don't believe everything you read" and stuff like that. But yeah,
including that.
But it's I don't see it. He broke his ankle, and I think it's multiple breaks and. Yeah, it's so, and I don't think we're bringing in anybody else. So, yeah, and then Rashee Rice, of course, we have still heard nothing about him, but I'm assuming he's not coming back.
Yeah, well, if you notice on this list, some of them have expected return weeks, week whatever, and then some of them have nothing. They just say IR, and Rashee Rice is definitely one that just says IR. So
Yep.
we can just hope and pray. But
Yeah. So, what was I going to talk about?
I don't know. I think you had a direction you were going there. But
Yeah. So we talked about Sky Moore, and did you hear that we picked up Sky Moore's brother, Fast Sky Moore?
is that his legal name? Fast Skymore?
Yeah, like, do you remember Speedy Gonzalez?
Oh yeah.
So this is Speedy Gonzalez, and Sky Moore is Slowpoke Rodriguez, his cousin or whatever. Yeah, but they're the same. They're the same. Like, it's okay. So we picked up Tyquan Thornton from the Patriots. We signed him to our practice squad. He's a wide receiver that was taken a few picks earlier than Sky Moore, same round, same year. I'm assuming it's one that the Chiefs had been looking at and then settled on Sky Moore, would be my guess, is that's why they grabbed him. But he has bricks for hands, just like Sky Moore. Can't catch the ball. Boy's fast, though. He's really fast. But not really excited about him, but he was signed to the practice squad, and he does bring speed, and if anybody can get something from a player that other teams couldn't, it's definitely Andy Reid and crew. And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what I think, but at the same time, you look at our team and you think to yourself, okay, this might not even be for this year. Like, you look at our team and our wide receivers, they're on like just like the last year of their contract, all of them. I mean, Juju's on a 1-year contract. Hollywood Brown, 1-year contract. Sky Moore's contract's coming up. Who else is on there? I believe we do have another year on contract with Hopkins. Yeah. I'm not positive on that though. But I mean, we don't have any wide receivers, and then Rashee Rice is probably going to be suspended. I mean, we're probably trying to look at what we're doing for next year, which could be scary depending on how much money we have to spend. But yeah, we got him.
I mean, all that speed does. They say speed kills, but it doesn't kill anything if he doesn't have the ball in his hands. So.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see. I mean, he can't be worse than Sky Moore.
I mean, he's just is Sky Moore. I mean, they're just like stat wise almost the same person, but Sky Moore has had a chance in a really good system. He's had no chance in a really bad system. So give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we can get something out of him. So I'm definitely down with that, but
yeah, give it a shot. Yeah.
The rest of it, I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, that's all I really had to say about that. I just wanted to throw that in there, is that we did get that guy, and yeah, we really need Minihue to come back bad. We need the pass rush needs to get something going. We still haven't seen much from the guy we picked up, Uche, but I still don't know how they're trying to slot him in, because he's a linebacker, and we're a 4-3. Like, it's weird to have a pass rushing linebacker,
and he hasn't. Well, it's not like he's done anything wrong when he's on the field. No. He hasn't botched any tackles or botched any plays or anything like that. He just hasn't seen the field a whole lot.
Yep.
And I think that's why he's just trying to figure out his place in this defense.
Yeah, and we barely blitzed last week with the Bills, which makes sense because it is Josh Allen. Blitzing can really just completely screw you with Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. But we got to be able to get some pressure of some kind with our freaking defensive line. Playoffs. I just went into that was a weird voice, wasn't it? But defensive line has got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, I what do you add to that? You're absolutely right. I mean, they do get pressure, but when we're playing guys like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, I mean, you got to have a spy. You got to have somebody to keep that guy contained, because I mean, we know what they're capable of. We knew what they were capable of at that moment. We were screaming at the TV, "Where is the spy?" And I just I know that they took the spy away so they could have another guy down in coverage, but I mean, when you've got a quarterback that's so electric with his legs, you just have to. You have to sacrifice that guy.
Yep.
And hope for the best in coverage.
Well, let's jump into some strengths and weaknesses. Why don't you walk us through some of the stuff that you've found out here?
Yeah, so when you were talking about how we lost to the Bills and it's a respectable team, and as long as it's not one of those teams we shouldn't lose to, that is the very definition of this team that we're going to be playing this next weekend. The Panthers are they just don't have a whole lot to look at, honestly. The Chiefs right now, we are favored by 7.5 points in Vegas, which to me, if you're going into a game against a team like this, you would think that you're maybe closer to 10 points favorites. But we do have a 75% chance of winning, according to the simulations, which is cool. 75% is a good chance. I doubt we had a 75% chance of beating the Bills.
We didn't. And one thing we need to do in this game is, that's not for this segment. I'm gonna get into when we go for strategic game plan. But
yeah. Well, and our biggest key to success, I think, is our defensive line and getting pressure on this. The Panthers' offensive line is struggling. They had, I think, 4 offensive line players get injured in the same game. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. And I don't know as far as who's come back and whatnot, but they are struggling offensive line wise, and I think worse than we are right now. So hopefully this is the game that we can get that defensive line kind of pumped up and get them a few stats. But yeah, I mean, the Panthers are up and down, from left to right, top to bottom. They are just an inferior team right now.
Their top 3 wide receivers are rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did that happen? Did they take 3 rookies in the draft? Or is like one in is one like an undrafted free rookie? Tell us in the comments, guys. We'd love to hear the story on that. But yeah, 3 rookie wide receivers, and I mean,
and a rookie quarterback, Bryce Young.
Yeah, they had an okay little play. Chance to win the game against the Saints last week. I did catch that. So I don't know. Bryce Young, I think he's only started twice, I think, so far now. I think it
might be 3, but yeah.
Adam Thielen's on this team?
Yes, Adam Thielen, and he's hurt right now, so he's questionable for the game.
Okay. Because I was sitting there, like, okay, well, he wasn't. It was all three rookies last week. Yeah,
so their top rookie, it's funny, his name is Xavier, also
Leggett.
Like Worthy. Yeah, it's Leggett,
yep.
Xavier Leggett.
I picked him up for a short time on my fantasy league to fill in for a bye week.
He's a fast guy. So, but I think he's still under 300 yards for the season. I mean, they don't have any big name anything anywhere on the field, offense or defense. They really just don't have any big name threats yet. So I hope that our defensive backs will be fairly productive this week. Because I mean, if Thielen does make the field, I mean, he's slow, but he catches everything. He was one of the guys we were talking about earlier this season when we were looking to maybe pick up another wide receiver. He was on the top of my list. I would have loved to see Thielen on this team. So, but we still did better with Hopkins. 100%.
Him and him and Cooper Kupp were on the top of my list, and I just didn't think DeAndre Hopkins was an actual option.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think he was,
like you said, Brett Veach offered them a half a bologna sandwich, and we got a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Jeez, man. And he's been effective since day one too. I mean, he came in here,
yep,
ready to play.
Yep, and just such a good guy to have in there working with Worthy. Worthy was talking in a presser this last week, and he was saying they were asking if he tries to pick Hopkins' brain. He was like, "Well, I think I might do it too much. I try not to bother him because I really think I'm just bothering him at this point. But yeah, I try to ask him questions all the time." I was just sort of thinking, Hopkins would be. You look at his demeanor and you look at how he carries himself. And,
I'd be intimidated.
Yeah, he'd be an intimidating guy to talk to. Like, just he seems very centered. I mean, but he doesn't seem like a jerk or anything like that. He just seems like a very quiet, intimidating guy to talk to. Yeah,
yeah, no bullshit kind of guy. He just wants to get to play ball, get to business.
Really cool dreads.
Yeah, awesome dreads. Yeah.
I think he probably has the best dreads in the NFL.
Yeah, and I don't think it's close.
Yep. Not to be confused with braids, because.
So I wonder how he's going to wear those dreads this weekend, because we've seen a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. I like the one where he's got like a dread down the front and a dread down the back, and like I don't know, it's like
that's just his dreads.
Yeah, it's like off-centered. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just his hair. That's when he's not doing anything. But then we saw that one week he had them all pulled together in one nice, neat little handle right here.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'd love to see him flow, though. Absolutely, I love his dreads.
And those like dreads would be, like the way he has them would be a lot harder to get a hold of, as part of the uniform. Braids a lot easier to grab because they're just all right there, usually hanging in the back.
Like a mop. There's so much to grab onto.
Yeah.
His dreads, he's got like 8 total, and they're just kind of like, whoa, all over the place.
It reminds me of what's his name from Star Wars? With the tentacle things.
Oh yeah. I'm not.
Biv Fortuna. That's actually his name. I don't know where that came from, but that is actually his name. Google it, audience. Google it. Biv Fortuna.
I'll just trust you.
Right.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. So, we were talking about Adam. I was like, how did we get on Hopkins' cool dreads?
Yeah, no kidding.
It was
Adam, wide receiver.
Adam Thielen, yeah. So, yeah. What about so you're saying their weak spots? Their offensive line, huh? We need to.
I mean,
we better have some freaking stats. We better have some stats.
They have a lot of weaknesses, though. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that scares me. It almost, I don't even want to say it, but trap game. I mean, this is the game that we absolutely have no business losing, and historically, we tend to lose those games.
2 in a row, losing 2 in a row. We lost 2 in a row last year, and I remember people were down in the dumpsters.
We lost like 5 out of 8.
Yeah, but we lost 2 in a row. It was the first time we'd lost 2 in a row in forever. You know all of our streaks. That's something we didn't talk about. All of our streaks, we lost them all last week. We lost our win streak.
28 games.
We lost
28
our
points.
28 points or less streak. We lost we lost every streak. It was a bummer.
It was a bummer, but at least it gets us away from talking about that stuff again, and just and when I say us, I mean coaches. I guess they probably don't talk about streaks too much. Honestly, that'd be dumb.
They asked Andy about the undefeated streak, and he goes, "Yeah. As far as that, you guys know I don't care about that crap."
Yeah,
he's like, "Next question, please." It's like who cares?
I think some coaches do,
Oh yeah,
honestly,
young
but
guys.
yeah, he absolutely doesn't. He's got his eyes set on one game. There's only one game in this season that matters.
Yep.
And that's the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Anything short of that is a disappointment for this team right now.
All right. Well, give us some stats that
Yeah. So the Panthers, offense and defense, right? So I did a lot of combing through the different stats that I was trying to find stuff that they were really good at and stuff they were really bad at, and I found a lot of bad. So the Panthers are tied for the most interceptions thrown with 12. As we all know, Mahomes is also up on that list. He's actually second most with 11. But the Panthers are dead last in passing yards, and the Chiefs are kind of middle of the field. They're number 16. That's actually exactly middle of the field.
Yep.
But it's still head and shoulders above the Panthers. And they're also tied for worst in the league in first downs, whereas the Chiefs are actually fourth best in the league in fourth downs. So that definitely lends itself to the Chiefs having a good day, hopefully. Now, defensively, you would think if they're weak offensively, maybe defensively they're not so weak, but that's not the case either. They're second worst in sacks, whereas the Chiefs are fifth worst. Still got them beat. They're second worst in rushing yards allowed, which that excites me. The Chiefs are only the third best in rushing yards allowed. I really thought we were
rushing quarterbacks, man.
Yeah, Josh Allen torched us.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Yeah,
yep.
I mean,
and they've allowed the most rushing touchdowns in the league so far this year, whereas the Chiefs have number 10. They're the 10th best.
Oh, the Tasmanian Devils coming back this week.
Everything kind of shows that Mahomes should kind of get back on track this week. And God, we really need Mahomes to really have like a 3 or 4 touchdown game. It's just way too many games now between those kinds of performances, especially this season.
Well, that was what I was going to say. With a team like this, I mean, we need to pull a Lions and we need to run up the score. I hate that the Lions have been doing that on bad teams. I think it's bad manners. I think it's BM. I think it's kind of icky, but we need to do it once. I mean, I think it's icky for the Lions just because they'll do it on anyone that they can. But I hope somebody can talk Andy Reid into just going up and running up the score. If we are doing amazing, let's go ahead and just run up the score this one time. Let's just put everything to rest, and just give it to them hard. We need to win this game by 3 to instill confidence back into Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Mahomes will be first in line, telling Andy, "Come on, let's go, let's do this. Let's score some points."
Maybe I think Mahomes and a lot of the guys have bought into the old school mentality of not beating a opponent while they're down. You think of I think of running up the score as you're in a fist fight. You knock your opponent down and then you kick him on the ground while he's down. And I feel like that's, kind of the way I see running up the score, because you don't get anything really from running up the score. In college, there's a argument to be made for running up the score and it being necessary. But, in the NFL, it always was forever. I mean, people didn't do, some of the stuff that coaches do nowadays in the NFL would make some of the old school coaches just sick to their stomach,
Yeah.
It's bad sportsmanship.
Maybe we knock them down once, and instead of beating them while they're down, maybe we just kind of hold them down so they can't get back up.
I mean, I'm just saying, I would like to see us go to that level for one game, then turn it back off. You know,
just to know we can.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, the players are starting to wonder if they can, and they need to know that they can.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, I hope we beat them by a bunch. But what are some key matchups to watch?
Yeah, so Mahomes, as we said, we're hoping that he bounces back. So one of the key matchups is Mahomes versus the defensive line. Um, but really, my big focus this week is Pacheco coming back and how much is he utilized and how much can he get going on this Panthers team that is so low in the rushing yards allowed and rushing touchdowns allowed. So I'm hoping Pacheco can get going. And then with Pacheco being back, we know that Hunt won't have as many carries, so maybe he can start to rest his legs a little bit. But he's going to be chomping at the bit to get some carries in this game too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he needs to Kareem Hunt needs to, just take a back seat for a game or two, rest up, let that man rest. Although after this game, we do have like 10 days before we play another game. So it's a nice little rest period, before we go into our 3 games in 11 days gauntlet, so I just love to see Hunt get back and refreshed, and I'm so thankful for him coming in. He's carried the load. He started week 4? It was either week 4 or 5, and he currently leads the league in rushing attempts. I mean, the man has bled for us and has put his heart and soul on the line, and I want him to just get a little bit of rest, even though, he doesn't know that he needs it. It's kind of like, you just got to look out for him and be like, hey, bro, you need to rest up a bit. And I think the 1-2 punch of these guys need it. Yeah, and everybody, it's great because I was talking about it way before, he ever came back when Hunt first got here, and talking about how I wanted Pacheco to be the premier back, the guy you're given to first and second down, and then Hunt to be the guy you're given short yardage situations. So even if it's second down, short yardage, I'm still looking at Hunt to move those chains, goal line. I think you could really open up the field a bunch with both of them and keep them nice and hungry, and not hungry, but what's the word for not tired? Fresh. Keep them nice and fresh. And I think, we don't, Patrick Mahomes can throw it all over the field if he wants, but let's get that run game established, and let's turn the focus away from Patrick Mahomes. And yeah, I want to see Pacheco running, but don't run him too hard. Pacheco, dang it, don't hurt yourself.
Yeah. Let's take it a little bit easy this first week back. There's no need to overextend yourself and get hurt again. But the other thing, we're talking about the running game, but I'd really like to see.
Hold on, before you go to that.
Oh, you want to take a break?
We have to call a timeout.
All right.
And we're back from timeout. And you were saying, Buck?
Yeah, well, we were just kind of going over our hopes for the offensive line and the running backs and how good that could be this week. But the thing that I want to see is separation with our receivers, and not so much because we've had some separation, but I want to see Patrick Mahomes find those guys that have found separation, and hopefully with their defensive line, maybe we'll have a little bit more time. Maybe he'll have some time to find the guys that are open on the field. Maybe check 3 or 4 options before he's throwing the ball this week. So,
yeah,
those are my big keys. I would just like a better game all around, offensively, defensively, special teams. I guess I can't ask for too much more on special teams. With the exception of the one game, we really special teams has been strong.
Yeah, pretty strong. I mean, we have a Hall of Fame special teams coach, a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, a Hall of Fame head coach. We do not have a Hall of Fame offensive coordinator.
Not at this time.
Maybe someday. The enemy man might have made it if he hadn't been silly and taken a pay cut, or taken basically it was basically a demotion because he went to a struggling team and then they axed him after one season.
Yeah, I wish I would have followed that storyline a little bit more just to kind of see, a lot of times that happens and they're just looking for a guy, a goat to blame everything on. So I don't know, how much of that was his doing, or maybe he wasn't doing enough to improve him. I don't know, but
I mean, he started out doing well. I mean, the Commanders under his, first 4 or 5 games of the season, I can't remember exactly, but he was doing great. We were like, damn, okay. But he runs a real hard ship that pisses players off, and lots of teams cater to the players, just like, adults now cater to children and don't discipline them when they do things wrong. They're just like, oh, they're just being a kid. But yeah, so, where was I go with that? Nagy, shoot.
Not a Hall of Fame coach, whereas all of our other Hall of Fame coaches.
Yeah. You were just talking about how you wanted to see, a big game from both sides of the ball because this team is just basically bad. I mean, they are objectively bad. It's not, really an opinion. Statistically, they are a bad team, a really bad team. So we should be able to beat them. Well, things about bad teams, though, and especially when they're out of it and there's no chance at playoffs, they can sometimes be the scariest teams on the field because they got nothing to lose and they're just playing football, and they don't have all those worries and that stress and that, anxiety about what's going to happen next week. They're just like, I'm just out here to play football.
Yeah, I think the one big thing that I would be worried about from this team is kind of what most teams have been doing to our defense this year. They've been neutralizing the defense by throwing quick passes. We've seen a lot of passes to tight ends this year. And if they're able to find a receiver open in the first couple of seconds of a play, that will neutralize any kind of rush or blitz that we have coming. And that, I believe, could be a key to their success if they're able to do that successfully all day.
Yeah,
but that's really the only thing that I can think of that puts them over the Chiefs this weekend.
Well, remember how I talked to you a few weeks back about how not every defense in the league can run as much man-to-man as the Chiefs? Mm-hmm. Well, from what we've seen without Ward, we're not able to run man-to-man like we were able to. And that a lockdown defense almost always runs a lot of man-to-man. And yeah, it's getting a little scary with the cornerback situation. If we had somebody who could just bull rush in there and, get some pressure, then the corners would have a lot more help, but we're not getting that. And I don't know.
Our corners haven't been bad. If you think back to all of the big plays, maybe 20 yards plus through the air, the Chiefs corners are usually there. It's the receivers that are making really good catches, and that's been the storyline in every game.
It has been.
So we're not bad defensively. It's just the other teams, the other receivers especially, are playing up against this defense. So I'm not overly concerned about our defensive backs. They could be better, but I don't think there's a team in the league that couldn't say that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? You think Chris Jones and crew can get to Bryce Young a couple, maybe a few times?
Yeah, I think that they will 3 or 4 times, honestly. Um, but what I want to see is the beginning of the game. I want to see the Chiefs come out and score on their first drive. I want to see the Chiefs take a lead early so that the Panthers have to play from behind. And then I think the game is pretty much in hand at that point, as long as the Chiefs don't just piss down the legs. Um, I I think if we do that, this should be a fairly easy week. Now, I hate to use the word easy. At work, when we use the word easy, that is a death sentence. That means everything that you thought is going to happen is going to go bad. And so when I say this could be or should be an easy game, maybe that's a bad some bad juju going into this weekend. But I mean, everything points to this being a fairly easy game for the Chiefs to win.
What are some
Screw it. It's going to be an easy game. We're going to blow them out. This isn't even we shouldn't even be talking about this.
what's some strategy? What's some strategic game planning you would do?
I mean, if I'm Mahomes and Andy Reid, let's follow the lead a little bit. Let's do some quick passes, and we have seen that off and on. But I need to see the offensive line step up, and hopefully they can against this defensive line. I need to see the defensive line step up and get some sacks. And I go back to the quick throws from the Panthers being the really the one big shot that they have at winning this game. I I, I don't want to see that. I want to see our defense step up and really just put the irons to this offense, this depleted offense,
Yeah,
and young offense.
yeah. Well, come out and get a fast start. You get some points on the board right off. Force Bryce Young to play from behind. That could be a good strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, get them playing from behind to where we know we have a good idea of what their play calling is going to be. Yeah.
What are some other ones?
Well, I mean, the defensive pressure can Bryce Young handle that defensive pressure? I don't know. He's still really young. There's not a whole lot of tape on him. He's only had a couple of starts. Our defensive pressure, the pressure is good. The stats haven't been there. So if we can get some of those stats, some of those sacks, some quarterback hits, some deflected passes, get into his head early, so that we don't have to worry about the late game antics that we're so used to this season.
Definitely. So, Buck, what could the Panthers do to actually help them out? I don't know if we should be giving them tips, but
Yeah, well, I think it's fairly obvious. I mean, if they're able to establish the run, which we know that the Chiefs have the third best rushing defense in the league, but if they were able to take some pressure off of Bryce Young by having a fairly decent running game, that would definitely help them out. As we've touched on a few times already, the short passing game, that would be probably the biggest weakness in this defense is, the 3 to 8 yard margin where they're throwing to tight ends or the slot wide receiver coming over the middle or something. That could be something that could disrupt this game for the Chiefs for sure. And then turnovers. We know that Mahomes has been prone to the interceptions, and that's something that absolutely could bite this team in the ass, and the Panthers could take advantage of it. So I think those would be the keys for them to win, but I still think it's a long shot for those things to kind of come together enough for them this week to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, we need him to not throw so many interceptions. We need that to stop right now, at least.
Yeah, well, that second one last week was was just him trying to create a play downfield. He had Kelsey downfield. It's not like it was a bad throw. It just was, but it still counts on stats. It's still a second interception for the game. It's still the 11th of the year. So, but that interception doesn't happen if we're not down by 10 at that, or 11, whatever it was, 9 or 11, 10.
Yeah,
if we're not 2 scores down, that pass doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's no excuse for the interception on the second play of the game. We were sitting there at 2nd and 2. When he threw the ball, he was almost back to the line of scrimmage. If he just would have went down with it, would have been a nice, easy 3rd and 3. So, those are what we do not need.
I think that's gone down as the worst interception for the season for him. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, second play of the game, right after a really good, worthy run there. Yeah, no, we cannot have that. Cannot have that at all. We do have a couple of. I'm having a brain fart today. A couple voicemails. That's what I'm looking for. We have a couple voicemails. Yeah, Jeremy. Was hoping somebody else would send us something, but Jeremy came through. So
he comes through with good stuff too. So
yeah,
glad to hear from him.
Let's hear this first one.
Hey, this is Jeremy, guys. Sorry I haven't called in a couple days. It was a pretty tough loss, and I'm still trying to get over it. But I think overall the positive here might be that the Chiefs will bounce back, and I'm pretty sure they will bounce back from this one loss. The thing is going to be when we bounce back, and I'm hoping that it's in the playoffs when we bounce back, because they definitely need to I think they needed to run the ball more in this game. When Mahomes first came out, their first possession, he started throwing the ball immediately. I got to be honest, I wasn't too happy about that, because their run game's been working from the start, and they should have started out with the run game. I felt like they were weak with the run game in this game against Buffalo, and I think Buffalo was a team that they really needed to run the ball a lot more, but I'm not really sure why they didn't do that. I thought maybe they got a lot more confidence with the receivers, being that we got Juju back, and Worthy was making catches and got a touchdown. I think that's what it was. They got too much confidence in their passing game and not enough confidence in the running game. So moving forward, I'm going to put that loss behind us. We all do. Moving forward, I just think they need to really focus on running the ball a little bit more at the beginning and not so much throwing at the beginning. And I think to close out the win from now on, they need to do more of their passing game in second, third, and fourth, and try to do a lot of running, and then maybe the first quarter or maybe even the second quarter, and then start passing the ball around second or third and fourth. Maybe that really surprised teams. I'm not really sure. The defense was playing good. The cornerbacks, I had one interception. I thought the cornerbacks could have played a lot more coverage, did a lot better job. But ultimately, I think the defense in this one let too many points go. They gave up too many points. And so, that's all I got to say about that. I just hope they run the ball a little bit more in the next games that we play, especially against the Steelers, teams like that. We definitely need to get the run game going and getting Pacheco back. So that will help definitely. Him and Hunt going it together, running the ball, that would definitely help our offense, I think, be more.
Yeah. So I think he's definitely right. I mean, we should have run more. I have to believe that the reason we didn't is just because Andy knows that Hunt is running on fumes right now, and I'm a little interested to know why we don't run P. Ryan a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a little confusing to me. But it's actually, if you think back, that's actually 2 games now where our running game has been subpar. You remember the game before was the Broncos when Hunt only had 35 yards on the ground. Now he did have like
60
60
some
something through
receiving.
the air. So I mean, he was still effective, and they were kind of still essentially runs because he was throwing out to the flat to Hunt most of the time when Hunt caught it. But I don't disagree. We absolutely need to get more running, get back into the game, get more running plays back into the game in the first quarter and a little bit more in the second quarter. But I think with the Bills, I think it was less of a Chiefs decision and more of a Bills effect. I think that, going back to the Coach Belichick style of coaching, take away the strongest weapon, and right now that's the running game for the Chiefs. So you take that off the table and make Mahomes beat you. And he hasn't really been doing that as effectively this season as he has done in the past. And so I think that was kind of the Bills' game plan going into it, was to try and take that away.
Yeah, it might have been. I think.
But he's absolutely right. Jeremy is absolutely right. With Pacheco coming back, it opens up all new dimensions of the running game and what's possible. So
Yeah,
and I hope we see a lot more running this game.
And I think we will. It's I should have played this earlier because I knew we wanted to talk about the run game, but I forgot to play it earlier. So yeah, at least the next one is something out of a little bit out of left field for me, but it'll be interesting. And also on the run game, hopefully we can call in like a veteran offensive lineman. Just, I don't know. Like, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them give Suamataia a chance on the right-hand side. I mean, the guy played right tackle. He hasn't gotten a chance to play right tackle at all for us. I think he might be a lot better at that spot. And
so maybe I need to do a little research myself to kind of answer my own question here, but are the guys on the practice squad less effective? I just can't imagine it being worse than Suamataia. Why aren't we pulling somebody up from the practice squad unless we just don't think that they're going to be any better whatsoever?
I don't know what we have on the practice squad as far as like tackles go, because the practice squad is only like 12 people. It's not like a whole
Not a full
other
team.
Yeah, it's like extra pieces, and there are stipulations. It'll be interesting. I should look into that, to what they're allowed to keep on there and everything else. But it's not like, I don't know that we even have somebody who could be a extra tackle, but
maybe that's the answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
not
why
sure.
I said maybe I should do some research to answer my own question.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, guys. Leave a comment on the episode and educate us, help us out. But here, let's listen to this other voicemail before we get out of here.
Hey, it's Jeremy here. Something I wanted to touch base on real quick about Tyrann Mathieu. Used to be one of our cornerbacks.
Honey Badger.
He was really good. And also Frank Clark. I've seen where Tyrann Mathieu is talking about retirement from the Saints. He wants to stay there to retire. So he's got like 2 years left to play, and our cornerbacks are struggling really big. So I would like to see Tyrann Mathieu retire as a Chief if possible. If they could go out and offer him more money to get him back, him and guys like Frank Clark or him and Snead, that would be awesome. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And that would definitely help us. All right.
I think
have a good one, guys. Thank you for your time.
when a player says they want to retire for the team that they play for, I think they're just trying to sound good for the people that are paying their paychecks. If you're telling me that if Tyrann Mathieu had a chance to come back to the two-time defending world champion Chiefs, I think he would jump on the opportunity. It's just something that you say that you want to play. Now, there are guys that say that and absolutely mean it, and I won't take that away from him. And I don't know Tyrann Mathieu. He might absolutely mean that he wants to stay a Saint, but take that away and put him on a team that's fighting for a third Super Bowl in a row. I'm pretty sure he'd happily play for that team also.
Well,
but do I think it's a good idea? Hell yeah.
Well, I don't. I'll get into that, but just to talk about players retiring for certain teams, always has still had a bad taste in my mouth that Tony Gonzalez retired as a Falcon and didn't just sign a one-day contract with the Chiefs to retire properly as a Kansas City Chief. It was. You know, I respect Tony a ton, love him, grew up loving him, grew up watching him, but he'll never kind of wash that stigma off of him, for me at least. So, but Tyrann Mathieu, I do not believe is the same type of deal. Tyrann Mathieu played with us for a few years. Also, we're struggling at cornerback. Tyrann Mathieu is a safety. He would not work out in the corner slot, and we don't have problems at safety at all. I mean, I would love to keep Reed. I don't want to trade Tyrann Mathieu for Reed in any day of the week. I want Reed.
But do we have a safety that could move over to corner if Tyrann came back?
It's not really. Most players can't do that. Like, safety's a very different position than outside corner. I mean, safeties often could like switch between slot corner and back to safety. Like Connor kind of does that for our team, but yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not really the same skill set. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's.
What about Brian Cook?
Different.
Brian Cook is our free safety.
Yeah, I don't know that he could play outside corner. I just don't think so.
No. I mean, if Mathieu came in and replaced Cook, you don't want to replace Reed, which I don't disagree with at all. But what about Cook? I mean, Cook's serviceable. He hasn't done anything wrong, but is he on Mathieu's level? I don't know.
At this point in Mathieu, I mean, Mathieu's old. I mean, he's older. So I don't know. He still is the honey badger, but I just don't think that. I don't think that's something. Now, if we could get Snead back right now today, it'd be amazing. But we can't. You can't trade. You can't trade back within a certain amount of time. We're definitely in that certain amount of time. I don't know if it's 2 years or what. Yeah, if we could get Snead back now, that would be woo-hoo doggies. Yeah. That would be amazing, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think it can legally happen in the league. So what you gonna do, right? But
we couldn't be that lucky.
Frank Clark, I mean, they were, leading up to the season, Frank Clark, was trying to get back on the team. Like, there were people, Chris Jones even like tried to rally to make that a thing. So yeah, I mean,
Frank Clark on this team again, even if it's a third down type deal only, that'd be amazing.
Maybe. I just don't know what gas he has left in the tank. It's
one of those Von Miller type things where he's only going to be in 10, 15 plays in the game. Where you specialize him, third down, he just pins his ears back and goes after the quarterback. Von Miller has made almost a second career out of doing that with Buffalo. So, I mean, even if that's the only thing that we needed him for, is just some extra pressure on third down, I'd absolutely love that option.
But then who do you get? Who do you take out of the? I mean, we're already going to have to take somebody out to get both Pacheco. We have one spot open, I believe, still currently right now, but that's where Pacheco is going to go. We got to drop somebody out to get Minihue back in. So yeah. So it's and what's crazy is Suamataia looks like he's the one that's going to just be the healthy scratch going forward, and it's it sucks to miss on such a high draft pick, but yeah, I mean, I'd love Tyrann Mathieu to retire as a Chief. I just I don't think we lost him because we couldn't pay him.
Yeah.
But
I love the energy, Jeremy.
Yeah, definitely. And the way we do, there is a free safety and a strong safety, but the way the Chiefs have played it since Spags has been there is both the free safety and the strong safety do the same things. They don't utilize them as different positions like a lot of other defensive coordinators do. So, but yeah, thank you so much for your voicemail, and we're gonna start getting out of here. But before we go, let's talk about some exciting news.
Big news, man. Super excited. We got a new opportunity this week. We were approached by a local establishment here to start doing some live shows and some live streaming. It won't be during the Chiefs games. It'll be Monday night games, but we'll bring our Chiefs edge to it and kind of see how the Chiefs could play into what's happening during the game and that kind of thing, playoff implications. But it's going to be a live stream in front of a bunch of people. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm a lot of bit excited. I cannot wait for this.
Yep. Same. And it's going to be at the Sports Pub and Pizzeria in Lenexa, Kansas. Now, this is part of the All American Sports Complex in Lenexa. It's a indoor soccer fields, indoor basketball courts, and then the bar is a really cool area up above all of the two fields. So it's the bar's been coming up. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff. I went and checked out the food because if the food wasn't good, we were going to have to say no, of course. And the food, I mean, the pizza was out of this world. And I'm excited to try the wings, but the pizza was really good. And it's just a really cool bar.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people going in and out of not just the bar, but the sports complex. So it's kind of a happening place. It's not going to be an empty venue every week. So yeah, super excited. Can't wait to get out there and mingle with some Chiefs fans during a broadcast. That'll be super fun.
Yep, and we have plans. We don't really know exactly what we're going to do, but it's going to be a live stream. We're going to have open mics, possibly just go ahead and bring on fans that want to talk, while we're doing the broadcast, want to talk about the Chiefs, want to give their thoughts and insights. And I think it could be a really fun thing and a way for us to meet you in real life, a place for you to meet us, a place where we could just talk. We can just talk about Chiefs. We could talk about the Monday night game. I think it could be really cool, and we would love you guys to come. Once again, that's the Sports Pub and Pizzeria on 8875 Rosehill Road, Lenexa, Kansas, 66215, and it's in the All American Sports Complex. There are, banners outside, but the bar has just kind of come up, and you wouldn't believe the memorabilia on the walls and everything. There is, they've got stuff for sale too, signed jerseys. I mean, the whole place it's just a really neat venue, and a neat place to watch the game. They got TVs everywhere. So definitely come out. We're going to be starting it on Monday. Oh, shoot. Monday, the 2nd of December. So write it on your calendar. Come out, hang out with us. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, come and talk to us.
All right, Buck, where can we find you?
You can find the two of us together on Facebook at Buck and Bob. Take on the Chiefs Kingdom. You can also find me on Twitter. It's at Buck_tastic. That's BUK_TASTIK.
And you can find me on Twitter/X at Blazin_Bob. It's BLAZZIN_BOB. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Let's take out those
Panthers.
Bad team. And how about those Chiefs?
How about those Chiefs?
Chiefs. See you guys.